सरकारी खजाने से पैसा खर्च करने की बात जब उन्होंने छेड़ी थी, सरकारी खजाने से पैसा खर्च करके बाबरी मस्जिद बनवाई जानी चाहिए, उसका भी विरोध यदि किसी ने किया था तो गुजराती मां की कोख से पैदा हुए सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल ने ही किया था। मेरे वल्लभ भाई पटेल उदार व्यक्ति भी थे, वे सच्चे अर्थों में सेकुलर थे, पंथ निरपेक्ष थे, वे तुष्टीकरण में विश्वास नहीं करते थे। जब पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू बाबरी मस्जिद के मुद्दे पर सरकारी खजाने से पैसा खर्च करने की बात जब उन्होंने छेड़ी थी, सरकारी खजाने से पैसा खर्च करके बाबरी मस्जिद बनवाई जानी चाहिए, उसका भी विरोध यदि किसी ने किया था तो गुजराती मां की कोख से पैदा हुए सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल ने ही किया था। मेरे बहनों भाई।
And the Congress party has responded, claiming that Rajnath, the defense minister, was lying. Huge face-off even outside Parliament, as some of the Congress leaders getting into Parliament countered Rajnath Singh. Here's how the fight is playing out inside and outside Parliament.
ये सब डिस्ट्रैक्शन है, असली मुद्दे हैं, बहुत महत्वपूर्ण मुद्दे हैं जिन पे चर्चा होनी चाहिए, जिन पे बात होनी चाहिए। और ये सब रोज ये कुछ ना कुछ डिस्ट्रैक्शन उठा लेते हैं ताकि हम फिर बयान दें, वो बयान दें, और जो असली मुद्दे हैं पब्लिक के, वो उस पर कोई चर्चा ना हो। ये सब डिस्ट्रैक्शन है, असली मुद्दे हैं, बहुत महत्वपूर्ण मुद्दे हैं जिन पे चर्चा होनी चाहिए, जिन पे बात होनी चाहिए। और ये सब रोज ये कुछ ना कुछ डिस्ट्रैक्शन उठा लेते हैं ताकि हम फिर बयान दें, वो बयान दें, और जो असली मुद्दे हैं पब्लिक के, वो उस पर कोई चर्चा ना हो।
It's a complete lie by Rajnath Singh ji. We all know that Pandit Nehru and Sardar Patel had a cordial relationship, and Pandit Nehru's logic was very simple. Public money should not be spent on any kind of mosque, temple, churches or gurudwaras. It should be people's contribution. People should contribute and build their beliefs. This thing, not government money should be there. Rajnath Singh ji is stooping to this level. He is spreading a lie. I condemn this kind of lies from Rajnath Singh ji.
सरकार के अंदर है, कोई दस्तावेज दे दें। हमारे पास दस्तावेज हैं कि सरदार पटेल ने इनके जो पेरेंटल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, जो विचारधारा है, उस विचारधारा के विरुद्ध जो पत्र लिखा था और उसके अंदर उसको बैन किया था, वो डॉक्यूमेंट्री एविडेंस है। तो ये ऐसी बात मत करें। सरकार के अंदर शामिल लोग अगर इस प्रकार की बातें करेंगे और इस प्रकार का झूठा नैरेटिव देश के अंदर फैलाएंगे तो ये बहुत ही दुखदायी है।
मुझे आज कष्ट सिर्फ एक बात का है, पीड़ा एक बात की है कि राजनाथ सिंह जी बोल रहे हैं, लगता है असर हो गया है कुछ उनको पार्टी में, या उन्हें मजबूर किया जा रहा है ऐसी बातें बोलने के लिए। सबको मालूम है नेहरू ने उन्हें उप प्रधानमंत्री बनाया, अपना गृह मंत्री बनाया, और दोनों में इतना सामंजस्य था। जब अंग्रेजों के खिलाफ लड़ते थे ना, तब जब आपकी पार्टी भाजपा का मात्र संगठन अंग्रेजों के साथ खड़ा था, तो राजनाथ जी न आपके इतिहास के साथ, न आपके व्यक्तित्व के साथ ये बात नहीं जाती है। हम इतना कहना चाहते हैं कि आज दोनों इस दुनिया में नहीं, कम से कम उनका नाम लेकर झूठ बोलने का पाप मत करिए।
अगर चाहते थे तो उनकी यानी नियत खराब तो नहीं थी मेरे हिसाब से, लेकिन एक बात है कि मस्जिद के निर्माण के लिए तो सिर्फ जो नमाज पढ़ते हैं मस्जिद में या जो इबादत करते हैं वहाँ उन्हीं से फंड लिया जा सकता है। तो ये प्रश्न बेकार के निकाल के क्या हासिल हो रहा है ये लोगों को।
मैं नेहरू जी का एक कोट करता हूं जो उन्होंने दिसंबर दिल्ली में 1959 में नेशनल गैलरी में ये स्पीचेस एट द इनॉग्रेशन ऑफ सेमिनार एंड एग्जीबिशन एंड आर्किटेक्चर ऑर्गेनाइज्ड बाय ललित कला अकादमी एंड ऑल इंडिया फाइन आर्ट्स एंड क्राफ्ट न्यू दिल्ली 17 मार्च 1959 17 मार्च 1959 को नेहरू क्या बोलते हैं एक कार्यक्रम में, सम ऑफ द टेम्पल्स ऑफ साउथ इंडिया however repel me in spite of beauty. I just can't stand. Why? I do not know. Cannot explain that. But they are oppressive. They suppress my spirit. They do not allow me to rise and keep me down in the dark corridors. I like the sun and air. In contrast, he founds Taj Mahal as astoundingly beautiful. 17 मार्च 1959 को जवाहरलाल नेहरू क्या लिख रहे हैं? वो कह रहे हैं दक्षिण भारत के मंदिर कितने भी ऊंचे हो, मैं डिप्रेस्ड फील करता हूं. मुझे समझ में नहीं आता है कि मुझे डिप्रेशन क्यों लगता है उन कॉरिडोर्स में मूव करते समय. तो इसका अर्थ हुआ कि वहां से लेके और आज तक राम मंदिर के शिलान्यास में न जाना, राम मंदिर की ध्वजा का विरोध करना, बाबरी मस्जिद बनाने का संकल्प लेना. वो एक पुराना गाना था ना, ये रईसी है खानदानी, वो रईसी नहीं, ये कहानी है खानदानी.
Now, with the India World Annual Conclave 2025 in Delhi, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar spotlighted India's emergence as the world's preferred hub for high-value global work, declaring that in an era of mobile capital and immobile borders, underscoring the country's demographic dividend, Jaishankar noted that India already constitutes about 1/6 of the global population, but closer to 1/4 of the world's young working-age workforce, a share that will only rise as the world pivots towards AI, advanced manufacturing and sophisticated services.
So far, I have spoken about the mobility of people, but I also want to highlight that work can also be mobile. That, if the talent doesn't go out, the out comes to the talent. And we have actually seen this growth of what are called global capability centers in the last few years. I understand today that there are in this country about 1,700 global capability centers, which are about half, they constitute about half the global capability centers in the world. And these are centers where global business has found it more effective, more efficient, really to send the business out and to utilize the talent in a different geography. And obviously, given the availability of the talent and the efficiency of it in India, we are a strong attractor of that. Again, there are estimates that about 2 million people are currently employed in global capability centers. And I think the rough revenue estimates which people put for global capability centers is somewhere between $65 to $75 billion currently a year. And looking ahead, I mean, certainly as we are moving to an era of AI, of higher skills, of advanced manufacturing, and also of, as I said, of social services of various kinds, we do anticipate a world which will put a greater premium on mobility. And we see ourselves, we are 1/6 of the world's population. But I think if you look in terms of the younger working age population, we would be somewhere between 1/6 and 1/4, would be closer to 1/4 actually of the global workforce of a certain demography.
Russian President Vladimir Putin will visit India in a few hours from now, 4th, 5th December 2025. Will be meeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the national capital, and one of the biggest outcomes of this visit will be the final approval of what could be a new military agreement called the Reciprocal Exchange of Logistics Agreement, or RELOS. Now, this agreement has been ratified by the Duma in Russia. It will allow essentially Indian warships, Indian military aircraft to refuel, restock food and supplies, carry out small repairs at Russian ports and air bases, essentially military cooperation during wartime and peacetime. Could just change the dynamics, not just in the Asian subcontinent, but even in Europe. Here's what it could mean.
Russian President Putin is scheduled to undertake an official state visit to India. This will mark the 23rd India-Russia annual visit, a mechanism established in 2000 that alternates between the two capitals and has continued almost uninterrupted even during periods of global tension. The most concrete deliverable expected from the visit is the final ratification of the Reciprocal Exchange of Logistics Agreement, a pact first proposed in 2019 and initialed in 2021. Under its terms, Indian warships and military aircraft will receive facilitated access to Russian ports and airfields for refueling, replenishment, and minor repairs, while Russian forces will gain similar rights at select Indian facilities. The agreement is especially valuable for India in the Arctic, where Russia maintains an extensive network of bases along the Northern Sea route, and for Russia in the Indian Ocean, where India operates the largest number of forward logistics points among non-Western navies. Unlike the more intrusive Logistics Exchange Memorandum of Agreement that India signed with the United States, RELOS is framed as a purely reciprocal arrangement without automatic basing rights or permanent foreign troop presence, which makes it politically easier to sell to the Indian Parliament and public. Beyond logistics, the two sides are expected to advance several major defense production programs that have been delayed by the Ukraine conflict and sanctions-related payment difficulties. India is seeking additional licensed production of the 11356 M-class guided missile frigates for its navy, with 2 ships already built in Russia and 4 more to be constructed at Goa shipyard with extensive Russian components. Progress is also anticipated on the joint manufacture of Ka-2260 light utility helicopters, where 60 units are to be assembled in India under the Make in India initiative, and on the long-pending acquisition of an additional batch of upgraded Mi-17V5 medium-lift helicopters. The BrahMos supersonic cruise missile, already in service with all the 3 Indian services and now being exported to countries such as the Philippines, is likely to see new orders for its extended range and air-launched variants. Nuclear energy cooperation, another traditional pillar, will move forward with the detailed project report for Units 5 and 6 of the Kudankulam nuclear power plant in Tamil Nadu, built with Russian VVER-1000 reactors. Perhaps most importantly, the visit will serve as a public demonstration that the India-Russia strategic partnership remains resilient despite the transformed global landscape. For Moscow, India represents one of the few major economies still willing to engage in large-scale defense and energy transactions without succumbing to secondary sanctions threats. For New Delhi, Russia remains a reliable supplier capable of transferring sensitive technologies that Western partners continue to withhold, and a crucial hedge against over-dependence on any single source of military equipment. The visit therefore underscores India's determination to preserve strategic autonomy in an increasingly polarized world, while allowing Russia to show that its diplomatic and economic isolation is far from complete. The timing of this visit is particularly significant because it takes place against the backdrop of Russia's ongoing military operation in Ukraine, now in its 4th year, and the sweeping Western sanctions that have isolated Moscow from most traditional supply chains and financial systems. Despite intense pressure from the United States and the European Union, India has refused to join the sanctions regime, continued to purchase discounted Russian crude oil in large volumes, and maintained defense cooperation at pre-2022 levels. This stance has allowed Russia to keep critical hard currency revenues flowing, while giving India access to military hardware and energy at prices lower than those available on the open market. The joint statement and the list of agreements signed during the visit will be closely passed in Western capitals, Beijing and other global centers of power, as an indicator of how far 2 of the world's largest nations are prepared to go in sustaining a relationship that has endured longer than most contemporary alliances.
Taking a short break, ladies and gentlemen, Telangana Chief Minister Revanth Reddy has made a comment on Hindu deities, sparking a huge controversy. There's a political fight over it. The BJP held a news conference a short while back. We'll tell you how that fight is going on, and the comment that caused the controversy also coming up.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा हार्डकोर मसाला
13,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध, MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार, विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा,
सबका राजा हार्डकोर मसाला।
ये जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला सिप सिप जीरा सिप जीरा सिप इंडिया का जलजीरा जीरा सिप इंडिया का जलजीरा जीरा सिप.
The Indian Army has rarely spoken so loudly without uttering a word. And in exercise Ram Prahar, it delivered perhaps its clearest message from the Western Front in recent years, not through speeches or press conferences, but through a powerful demonstration of what it can actually.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल. ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े. क्या निराला MDH मसाला. केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे. दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे. केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार. विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी.
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला. डिलीशियस, हेल्दी, एवरीडे.
बाबरी मस्जिद के मुद्दे पर सरकारी खजाने से पैसा खर्च करने की बात जब उन्होंने छेड़ी थी, उसका भी विरोध यदि किसी ने किया था तो गुजराती मां की कोख से पैदा हुए सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल ने ही किया था. मेरे बहन भाई.
Controversy over Rajnath Singh. Comment on Nehru claims Nehru wanted to use public funds to build Babri Masjid. Congress calls Rajnath's remark a lie. Telangana Chief Minister Revanth Reddy's remarks on Hindu deities sparks a big controversy. BJP calls out Congress's habitual insult of Hindu gods and sentiments.
सर आप कह रहे हैं सर स्कूलों में जो है जिहाद पढ़ाना चाहिए. सर आप कह रहे हैं सर स्कूलों में जिहाद पढ़ाना चाहिए.
There's a controversy over Madani's pitch to have jihad taught in schools. Republic confronts the Jamiat Ulema-e-Hind chief. He goes silent when asked. Speculation over Jharkhand Chief Minister's meeting with the Prime Minister. Congress calls a key meeting in Jharkhand on the 4th of December. Is there a realignment on the cards? As the power tussle continues, Sitharaman, the Karnataka Chief Minister, meets the Congress High Command, says will step down if asked to by Rahul Gandhi. And the most extensive coverage on Putin's visit to New Delhi, Republic and Sputnik of Russia, keeping you ahead on all breaking news updates. And ladies and gentlemen, the big story, largely unreported, the Indian rupee has plummeted to an unprecedented low. Today, it's now breached the significant 90 rupees per dollar mark for the first time in history by depreciating. Fallen 6 paise today to 90.02 in early trade. That means $1 costs 90 rupees. And this was this morning when it crossed the 90 barrier. And the fall comes even as banks keep buying US dollars at higher levels. Some of the factors that have contributed, including higher levels of FII outflows, which continue amid a rush by companies to hedge against weaknesses in the currency. I have Pranav joining us live from the Republic Business Newsroom. Pranav, US trade deal also one of the factors. Why don't you take our viewers through the implications of this now? Pranav.
Well, Niranjan, the rupee has fallen 5.3% this year. I mean, this is in fact the steepest annual decline since 2022. Analysts are saying that the various factors include that the central bank has not in fact intervened. If you remember, there's an RBI monetary policy that is slated to begin, and there are expectations that the rate cut is not likely to be revised. So, yes, at a time when, there have been concerns about trade, there have been concerns about, the underperformance of the Indian market over the year that has gone by, the RBI not likely to intervene is being seen as a negative side by some of the traders. That is one of the reasons behind the, so to say, weak demand for rupee. Contrary to the belief that rupee hitting a low always is detrimental, it's not always so, because the Indian services and goods that are offered normally end up becoming cheaper, as a result of which it helps the Indian economy in terms of the inflow of the rupee because of the dollar gaining strength.
Yes. Implications of this, Pranav, what will be impacted in the short term?
The implementation is clearly that, the Indian goods and services that are offered abroad, they end up becoming cheaper, as a result of which there is more demand for that, as a result of which there is more inflow. So in the end, it helps the Indian economy because there is more inflow of dollars in this case. So that's the immediate implication. In the longer run, however, we need to definitely look at how it impacts, how the demand supply impacts, and the FII inflow, it definitely will be increased because of the rupee falling.
Okay, thank you for joining us with those inputs, Pranav. For the first time, rupee has breached the 90 per dollar mark. It's a record low, the lowest it's fallen so far. Getting in some breaking news now to the political update. There was a speculation on whether JMM and Hemant Soren would be breaking up with the Congress party. Is that a possibility? One of the questions being asked as top leaders of the JMM reportedly are in touch with the BJP. A JMM has responded. JMM has called the speculation baseless. There's a breaking news update coming in. A comment coming in from the JMM to the meetings that have taken place. In fact, there was a buzz after Hemant Soren met the Prime Minister along with his wife, and the Jharkhand governor as well was in the national capital meeting Union Home Minister Amit Shah. Here are some of the responses coming in. JMM says it's not happening.
जितनी मुंह उतनी बातें, किसी का मुंह तो नहीं रोका जा सकता। चर्चाएं कहां से उठती हैं, क्यों उठती हैं, परंतु कोई कारण ये बता दीजिए कि गठबंधन क्यों टूटेगा और क्यों हम किसी दूसरे दल के साथ जाएंगे। कोई कारण तो होना चाहिए। वैसी कोई दूर दूर तक संभावना नहीं है। सरकार अपना कार्यकाल पूरा करेगी। सरकार को जनादेश इस गठबंधन को मिला है, हम उसका सम्मान करते हैं। मजबूत सरकार है, हमारे लोकप्रिय मुख्यमंत्री। मुझे नहीं लगता है कि कोई जरूरत है गठबंधन तोड़ने की। दिल्ली जाने के तो कई कारण होते हैं, व्यक्तिगत कारणें भी होती हैं, कुछ अपना व्यक्तिगत निजी जीवन भी होता है, साथ ही और भी कई काम होते हैं। माननीय मुख्यमंत्री को बहुत तरह के कार्यों से जाना पड़ता है, तो फिर अटकलबाजियां, मुझे लगता है ये बेबुनियाद अटकलबाजियां हैं। कोई इसका आधार नहीं है, निराधार बात है।
Now, there is also a meeting lined up of the Congress party. So, Prakash, what is the basis to this speculation?
Well, as far as basis is concerned, we haven't found anything concrete development as yet if the JMM is joining the NDA or not. But speculation has been rife for the past 2 weeks or so, ever since Hemant Soren has been making a visit to Delhi. And there's been a speculation, but without the smoke, there is no fire. But there would be some back-channel negotiation or last-minute arrangement that would be happening, as it happened in the case of Bihar in 2022, that the BJP was caught unawares about the political realignment between the RJD and the JDU. And despite the last-ditch effort, Nitish Kumar went to the Mahagathbandhan. If that kind of arrangement is being done and the mere posturing is being done by the JMM leaders as well as the BJP, one doesn't know. But yes, Hemant Soren is involved in large number of corruption cases. So that is one of the issues as it happened in Maharashtra, Niranjan, when Ajit Pawar switched sides overnight and he was sworn in as the deputy CM along with Devendra Fadnavis. So if that kind of history is repeated in Jharkhand as well, so we cannot rule out that that has happened in the past in Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, and other states as well. And as far as Hemant Soren's alignment with RJD and the Congress is concerned, he was apparently not happy in the Bihar Vidhan Sabha elections, and also there is lack of funds, shortage of funds. So he may want a double-engine government. That would be one of the issues. But as far as the leadership is concerned, all the leadership of respective parties, even the BJP, is denying it. But that has added more to the speculation is the pictures of Hemant Soren and Kalpana Soren, his wife, meeting Prime Minister, as well as Santosh Gangwar, the Jharkhand governor, meeting Union Home Minister Amit Shah. So as far as the majority is concerned, there is no doubt about the majority. Hemant Soren's JMM has 34 MLAs in the 81-member assembly, and BJP has around 24 MLAs. So they come close to around 58 MLAs, whereas the India bloc has 56 MLAs. So we'll wait and watch. We are keeping a track on the development. Hemant Soren is coming back to Ranchi today evening. Maybe thereafter some developments would take place, but in 2 days from now, the winter session of the Jharkhand Assembly is all set to begin, and it is most unlikely that things should move so fast, but we are keeping a track on the development.
Thank you for joining us with those inputs. Okay, so no movement as of now is what the JMM says. Let's keep a close watch on that. Let's move on now and get you the other big political controversy of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, a comment that was made last evening by the Telangana Chief Minister Revanth Reddy made a comment, a loose comment, not really loose when you look at how frequently Congress makes such comments about Hindus and Hindu gods. Last evening, Telangana Chief Minister Revanth Reddy mocked Hindus and Hindu gods with a comment to which the BJP has responded today. Listen in.
रेवंत रेड्डी ने जिस प्रकार से हिंदू देवी देवताओं के बारे में अपमानजनक, अवांछनीय कमेंट किए हैं, उसे किसी भी कीमत पर बर्दाश्त नहीं किया जा सकता। और एक तरफ ये वही मुख्यमंत्री हैं जिन्होंने अभी जुबली हिल के चुनाव में ओपनली बोला था, कांग्रेस मतलब मुसलमान, मुसलमान मतलब कांग्रेस। आपको पूरा तहे दिल से मुस्लिम समाज के साथ जाइए, कोई समस्या नहीं है। आप हम सफर, हम प्याला, हम निवाला, हम राज हो जाइए, हमें कोई समस्या नहीं है। मगर हिंदू धर्म के देवी देवताओं को गाली देंगे तो यह बर्दाश्त करने योग्य नहीं है।
देखिए, मौलाना मदनी हो या कांग्रेस पार्टी हो, दोनों के स्वर आज एक नजर आ रहे हैं। मैं तो धिक्कार शब्द से शुरू करूंगा कांग्रेस के लिए कि जिस प्रकार के शब्दों का प्रयोग तेलंगाना के मुख्यमंत्री कांग्रेस के एटीएम रेवंत रेड्डी जी ने कहा है आज हिंदू देवी देवताओं के लिए, ये न केवल आपत्तिजनक है, ये घृणक है। यह कांग्रेस पार्टी के मनसा के अंदर किस प्रकार से हिंदुओं के खिलाफ एक जहर भरा हुआ है वो दर्शाता है। रेवंत रेड्डी कहते हैं अपने एक डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोऑर्डिनेशन कमेटी की मीटिंग में कि यदि भगवानों के बीच ही कंसेंसस नहीं है तो हमारे बीच में कंसेंसस कैसे हो सकता है, हम कैसे कंसेंसस बना सकते हैं। यह हिंदू धर्म क्या है? ये सनातन धर्म में 3 करोड़ देवी देवताएं हैं। बैचलर के लिए हनुमान जी हैं, जो 2 शादी करते हैं उनके लिए कोई और भगवान है। कोई ऐसे भगवान हैं जो शराब पसंद करते हैं, कोई ऐसे भगवान हैं जो टॉडी पसंद करते हैं। वेजिटेरियंस दाल रोटी खाने वालों के लिए एक अलग भगवान है। ये किस प्रकार की भाषा है? रेवंत रेड्डी जी, यह जो आप ट्यूशन क्लास से सोनिया गांधी जी से और राहुल गांधी से सीख के आ रहे हैं कि जाइए और हनुमान जी, माँ दुर्गा, शिव जी और विष्णु जी के खिलाफ बोलिए, आपको अभी भी समझ नहीं आया? सुदर्शन चक्र चला है कांग्रेस पार्टी के ऊपर, छिन्न विच्छिन्न होकर पड़े हुए हैं। किसी भी राज्य में जीत नहीं हो रही है। जनता जनार्दन त्रिशूल चला रही है आपके ऊपर, और कांग्रेस की लंका को ध्वस्त कर दिया है हनुमान जी ने। फिर भी हनुमान जी, शिव जी और विष्णु जी के खिलाफ ये जो आप जहर उगल रहे हैं रेवंत रेड्डी जी, इसका खामियाजा कांग्रेस पार्टी को भुगतना पड़ेगा।
देखिए, कांग्रेस पार्टी एक मुहिम चला रखा है हिंदुओं के खिलाफ, और जो भी इस तरह की बात बोलेगा ना वो भारत के संविधान में भरोसा रखता हो, ना वो भारत की संस्कृति से वास्ता रखता हो। वो कहीं न कहीं उसका इमोशन आक्रांताओं से, मुगल आक्रांताओं से जुड़ा रहा हो, वही व्यक्ति ऐसा बोल सकता है।
पहले भी कहा था कि कांग्रेस मुस्लिम जिनकी आप बात कर रहे हैं, रेवंत रेड्डी के बयान की बात कर रहे हैं। रेवंत रेड्डी पहले भी ये बयान दे चुके हैं, कांग्रेस इज मुस्लिम, मुस्लिम इज कांग्रेस।
हाँ, तो डिक्लेयर करा दे कांग्रेस पार्टी को मुस्लिम लीग कांग्रेस पार्टी।
सर, मौलाना मदनी का कहना है कि स्कूलों में जिहाद पढ़ाना चाहिए।
मौलाना मदनी को किसी इस्लामिक कंट्री में जाके एक अच्छे स्पीकर के रूप में उनको भेज दिया जाए। भारत में ऐसे लोगों की जरूरत नहीं है। ये विभेद पैदा करते हैं, हिंदुओं को गाली देने का काम करते हैं, और जिहाद का यहाँ कोई जगह नहीं है। जो जिहाद की बात करे उसको कानून के शिकंजों में बंद कर देनी चाहिए।
Okay, getting into responses to that comment that was made by Revanth Reddy. Union ministers responding, quickly getting in a response from one of the union ministers, Prahlad Joshi, who has responded to what Revanth said. Listen in.
नहीं, ये लोगों को हिंदू का अपमान, हिंदू आस्था का अपमान कांग्रेस को और कांग्रेस के जो फ्रेंडली पार्टी है वो एक हैबिट बन गया है। जब भी देखो, कर्नाटक में देखो, केरल में, अभी तेलंगाना में। नहीं, ये लोगों को हिंदू का अपमान, हिंदू आस्था का अपमान कांग्रेस को और कांग्रेस के जो फ्रेंडली पार्टी है वो एक हैबिट बन गया है। जब भी देखो, कर्नाटक में देखो, केरल में, अभी तेलंगाना।
Getting in some breaking news now on the Delhi riots case. There's been a hearing underway in the Supreme Court on the bail petition specifically of Umar Khalid, Sharjeel Imam and the others that are now being heard. And as we speak, the arguments are being made inside court. Sharjeel Imam's entire video was played last week inside the courtroom. It was an 8-minute video, and hearing is on in Supreme Court. As we speak on the Delhi riots case, Sharjeel Imam and Umar Khalid, their lawyers are trying to ensure that somehow they get bail in this particular case, but so far they have failed and the arguments continue. In the 8-minute video, Sharjeel Imam in several parts of that video is heard asking for violence, calling for Muslims to unite on the streets of India in different cities, to come out and protest in large numbers, asking for chicken's neck to be cut off. Many insightful remarks being heard. Provocative remarks by Sharjeel Imam that prove that he's nothing but a rioter. Let me go across to Rhythm Anand Bharadwaj joining us on the phone line. Rhythm, give us details of what's happening inside the courtroom now.
Just to yet start, Niranjan, but you were rightly saying not only a rioter, I would go as far as to call them a terrorist because they have been booked under the UAPA Act. The bench of Justice Arvind Kumar and N.V. Acharya had heard detailed submissions earlier from Kapil Sibal on behalf of Umar Khalid. He had begun his arguments earlier in the case, speaking about how he believed there was nothing inflammatory or communal content in what Umar Khalid's speeches had been. Today we are going to hear what Sharjeel Imam's lawyer is going to be speaking in the Supreme Court in the rejoin their arguments, after which the Delhi police's rebuttal will be there. And I think after that, the court is going to soon quickly pass its order. But like you said, the 8-minute video, the 3-minute video that has been shown in the court is very, very clear. It shows the intent of these people to cause riots. It shows them wanting not only to be anti-national, but a regime change in India. The police claim the regime change operation was there. And this regime change operation that is there in the affidavit is what is so concrete and important to understand, because not only did they want a separate regime change, the Delhi police in its clear and very aggressive stand before the Supreme Court has pointed out time and again in videos, in clear details that they have given, that these people wanted a regime change.
Okay. Rhythm, can we expect an order today in the course of the arguments? Are we expecting an order anytime soon? Because the argument has been that, it's been pushed for far too long. But given the severity of the claims and knowing what they can do if they are out, what is your sense of the way the case is proceeding?
I have been hearing and seeing this case for the past 4-5 years, Niranjan, in the Delhi High Court. Orders have been passed earlier. Whenever needed, the court has rejected the bail applications of Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam. Yet again, I believe it's the top court now that has to see this bail petition that has been filed by Umar Khalid, Sharjeel Imam and others. The order is expected once the hearing is complete. It's been a rather lengthy hearing, and the Delhi police has clarified time and again, specifically in the top court before the Supreme Court, the ASG, SV Raju, has clarified any delay that is being caused is only being caused by the accused, their lawyers, and by other accused. So very crystal clear arguments that have been made in the top court of the country. Now we only have to see how far they'll go.
Okay, Rhythm, thank you for joining us with those inputs. Have to take a short break now. Coming back with more headlines and breaking news updates. At 3 p.m, we have breaking news updates and a joint broadcast with Sputnik of Russia on what you can expect when Putin lands in Delhi. Stay tuned.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ 8 मिनट में तैयार क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा हार्डकोर मसाला
From the hallowed chambers of the Supreme Court of India, the law roars louder, real, fearless, historic. The first Buddhist Chief Justice of India, former Chief Justice of India, Justice B.R. Gavai, unshaken in conviction. This weekend on the legal side of things, only on Republic TV.
A big revelation made in Rajya, where police achieved success by seizing a pickup loaded with explosives. Reportedly, the nature of these explosives, investigators say, could have caused damage in almost a 10-kilometer radius. Now, during investigation, it was found that explosives were being transported from Amet to Natwara in Rajya. Investigation continues. There's complete chaos at Hyderabad's Rajiv Gandhi International Airport this morning as operational issues caused flight delays. Curious passengers tried to check in. Airport staff struggled to address grievances. This comes a day after the airport also received a threat mail. In a video that's now going viral, the Congress youth leader Avnish Singh has been caught selling drugs on camera. This is in Rewa, Madhya Pradesh. Following this, the party has expelled him for 6 years. In a video that has been released now, it's seen that the Congress leader was seen selling cough syrup and brown sugar. Clashes broke out between students and security personnel at the Banaras Hindu University. Late night, leaving over 100 injured. Violence involved stone pelting, vandalism. Vehicles were damaged. Trouble began ahead of the Tamil Sangamam event, scheduled to welcome 216 students to the campus. Statement that was made by Vladimir Putin a few hours back, escalating his attack on Europe after Kiev's underwater drone strike crippled at least 2 tankers from Moscow's shadow fleet. Russian President Vladimir Putin now threatening to cut off Ukraine from the sea.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has issued one of his strongest warnings yet, threatening to sever Ukraine's access to the sea. His comments come days after Ukrainian underwater drones targeted 2 Russian tankers in the Black Sea. Putin labeled the strikes piracy, claiming the tankers were not even in neutral waters but within the economic zone of a third country. He also warned that Russia will consider retaliatory measures against ships belonging to countries that support Ukraine. Ukraine, however, says the attacks were deliberate and strategic. Both vessels suffered major damage. Ukraine claims the strikes have knocked the tankers out of operation, disrupting Moscow's shadow fleet. With Putin now signaling expanded strikes on Ukrainian ports and incoming ships, the Black Sea risks becoming a new flashpoint in the war.
The 19th edition of the annual bilateral exercise Surya Kiran between the Indian Army and the Nepal Army is progressing at Pithoragarh in Uttarakhand, focused on enhancing operational synergy. Now the exercise includes jungle warfare, counter-terror drills in mountainous terrain. Here's a video that was released by the Army on the ongoing exercise. Taking a short break, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, on top of 3 p.m, Republic, along with Sputnik of Russia, will get you the biggest coverage, live coverage. And at 3 p.m, we have some news as we bring our colleagues from Sputnik as well, looking forward to Vladimir Putin's India visit. That's coming up next. Stay tuned.
MDH की
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरी राजा,
The Indian Army has rarely spoken so loudly without uttering a word. And an exercise...
From the hallowed chambers of the Supreme Court of India, the law roars louder, real, fearless, historic. The first Buddhist Chief Justice of India, former Chief Justice of India, Justice B.R. Gawai, unshaken in conviction. This weekend on the legal side of things, only on Republic TV.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
13,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
The Indian Army has rarely spoken so loudly without uttering a word. And in exercise Ram Prahar, it delivered perhaps its clearest message from the Western Front in recent years, not through speeches or press conferences, but through a powerful demonstration of what it can actually do on the battlefield. What happened in the deserts and plains under Kharga Corp was not just another military exercise, but a carefully planned signal about capability and intent along our border with Pakistan. The numbers tell part of the story, with over 20,000 soldiers organized into battle groups that can fight independently, suggesting that the army is moving away from old defensive tactics toward a more aggressive approach that can strike on multiple fronts at once. This is not the army that waits behind borders anymore, but one that is ready to take the fight into enemy territory if provoked. The scenario itself, a cross-border offensive in response to a Pakistani attack, makes clear that India is no longer content with merely defending its borders, but is prepared to hit back hard and fast. What makes Ram Prahar different from past exercises is how everything worked together like a well-oiled machine. Tanks like the T-90S Bhishma and upgraded T-72 with night vision capabilities worked alongside artillery guns like the K-9 Vajra and Pinaka rocket launch.
From Moscow to New Delhi, the world is watching. As Russian President Vladimir Putin arrives in India, stay tuned for unprecedented on-the-ground coverage.
All eyes on New Delhi as major defense deals and strategic agreements take center stage. Stay tuned for the fastest and the most accurate coverage of President Putin's India visit only on Republic TV.
The optics could not have been clearer and louder. By hosting the Russian President Vladimir Putin in New Delhi with all the trappings of a state visit, India is sending a strong message to the West that it's not going to compromise with its strategic autonomy under any geopolitical pressures of sanctions and tariffs.
Stay with us as our team of correspondents joins the Republic newsroom to deliver sharp insights, exclusive perspectives and real-time reporting on this groundbreaking visit. The best of India and Russia, Republic and Sputnik get you the most comprehensive coverage of this Modi-Putin summit.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Watching our very special broadcast ahead of President Vladimir Putin's visit to New Delhi. India's most watched news network is now partnering with Russia's giant news agency Sputnik. In fact, over the next few hours, we're going to give you a sneak peek into what's really expected over the next 2 days. The fastest and the most accurate coverage only on Republic TV as we join hands with Sputnik, with their reporters on the ground, not just in India, also getting us more perspective from other countries. Joining me is our senior executive editor Abhishek Kapoor and my colleague executive editor Niranjan. Niranjan, we're making the formal announcement of joining hands with giant Sputnik. What's really expected over the next couple of hours?
Well, Shravan and Abhishek, we've covered Putin's visits in the past, and we remember being here in this studio a few months back. It was a very short visit. He came and he left within a few hours. Yeah. This one is special. This one is bigger than before because after Operation Sindoor, at the fag end perhaps of the Ukraine war, Putin coming to India at a time when the US trade deal is not final. Abhishek, you know more about diplomacy and the kind of messaging that Putin's visit will be making headlines in across the world, of course, not just in India.
Well, absolutely. It's a global geopolitical event, Niranjan and Shravan. And I must add, Shravan, to the tie-up that we were talking about, Sputnik, the fact that our guest team also has got into the act. And we have, in fact, a global panel of guests joining us from tomorrow. And that's going to be, in fact, perhaps in this broadcast itself, from Beijing to Moscow, from Moscow to Washington, D.C., from Washington, D.C. to London and whatnot, including, I believe, you have got some from Egypt and Israel. Well, essentially, the whole idea is that this is not just about India and Russia, Niranjan, and you are right, this is being globally watched. This is about India's positioning. As optics go, this is India's strong message to the West that when it comes to our strategic autonomy, we are not going to compromise.
Yes.
And even if this sanctions regime by the West on Russia is going to restrict a lot of space for other nations to engage with the Russians, the fact of the matter is, unless you talk to them,
yes,
you cannot get the war on the ground to stop, which even President Trump wants.
Yes.
So I think this is a very important event, and let's get going with whatever we are going to bring to our viewers over the next 2 days.
Shravan, if you can introduce our friends from Sputnik who are joining us live on the broadcast and taking us through this entire 50 to 75-hour live coverage starting now.
Well, in fact, over the next 2 days, what you're essentially going to witness here on Republic TV is the fastest coverage that's going to take place and the most incisive. In fact, the reason why we say it's the most incisive because Sputnik, which happens to be one of the largest news agency, has now partnered with Republic TV. What we are going to do over the next 2 days with the largest team of reporters at every venue where the Prime Minister and President Putin are going to meet. And there are also on the sides various discussions that are going to take place. Defense as well as some strategic agreements that are likely to take center stage. Joining us on this broadcast is our friend from Sputnik, Dimitri. He's the head of Sputnik India. Thank you very much, Dimitri, for joining us. I believe you're also making the formal announcement right now at Sputnik, the joining hands with Republic Media Network.
Well, yes, this is a very exciting opportunity for us because we all know of Republic's reputation as an Indian media powerhouse. And for our part, we've been able to build a very strong position, not just in the Russian market, but all across the world. Our content is broadcast in more than 32 different languages. So for us, it makes sense to join hands right now because when we, as your colleague Abhishek said, this isn't just about Russia and India. The reason this visit is generating attention and excitement across the world is because Russia and India are viewed as leaders in the formulation of a multipolar world. Because everyone understands that the unipolar world, where there's only one superpower, is going away. But at the same time, people don't want to go back to the Cold War, where there was a bipolar system of only two superpowers and that forced everyone to pick sides. So the global majority wants a level playing field, and they view Russia and India as two major leaders in that global revolution. And it's not just on a political level, but also on an economic level, on a technological level, and on a military level. So on our end, we're very excited to say that we'll be able to bring in not just folks from Russia, from Moscow, but also correspondents and speakers from Ethiopia, Egypt, Lebanon, Iran, and even the European Union and the United States. So I think that we're going to offer unprecedented coverage together, and I feel confident in saying that no one will be offering the same menu of options as we collectively will be offering.
Well, I think so that sets the tone, Niranjan. No one perhaps would be able to put together what we are essentially planning to do. So let's give you a sneak peek quickly into what's really expected in terms of the deals that are likely to come together. In fact, Abhishek, you would be in a better position to really talk about the fact that what's really expected in terms of the defense deals that have been spoken about, the Su-57 and S-400 you were part of that foreign ministry briefing that took place. Why don't you first take our viewers through some of the details that you've been able to pick up?
Well, so the quick ones, Shravan and Niranjan and Dimitri there. There is a lot of talk about Su-57s and the S-400s. Remember, we bought 5 batteries of S-400 in 2019-20. 2 are yet to be delivered, so the Russians have to really, fill in that blank. Having said that, the kind of success we had with S-400s in Operation Sindoor, obviously we can look at more, not just S-400, but their upgraded version S-500, and the Russians have offered technology transfer, so there would be talks on that. Sukhoi 57 is the 5th generation aircraft of Russians. We had Mr. Peskov yesterday, the Kremlin spokesperson, mentioned that this is their best. This is the best in the world. But the point is that do we really need it? And if we do, how many we need? Because the Russians, again, like in the case of S-400, so in the case of Su-57, are saying there is the option of tech transfer. So F-35 versus Su-57, that would be another. But again, this would be a conversation, Niranjan. So far as deal is concerned, Shravan, I believe it's already there. In front of our eyes, which would be signed on the dotted line in the presence of the 2 leaders, which is about logistics exchange and military exchange between the 2 nations in terms of quickly deploying forces in each other's territory, sharing logistics, communication, etc. Similar agreements, of course, exist with other nations, for example, with the United States and the United Kingdom. With Russia, we are getting now.
Yeah, I think, Shravan, one more key aspect of this visit, of course, the focus will be on the defense deals. At a time when we have a lot of pressure from America, especially on oil, and the kind of trading relationship we've had vis-a-vis oil with Russia, it's been beneficial to India and the Indian markets. But what happens now? Because, of course, it will be on the top of Russia's agenda as well. If I can take this question to Dimitri. Dimitri, I saw a post put out by Sputnik by the Russian leadership calling the Sukhoi 57 the world's best fighter jet. And of course, in Operation Sindoor, like my colleague Abhishek mentioned, we've seen the success of S-400 along with our own indigenous systems as well, the Akash missile. But S-400 did play a big part, also mentioned by our armed forces chiefs. So outside of the defense deals, how do you see this visit play out in terms of what is on the table between India and Russia?
Well, I actually think that perhaps an even bigger news item is going to be the deals on the economic side. Because yesterday, Sputnik India hosted Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov to provide a media briefing for Indian journalists ahead of Putin's visit. And he said that Russia recognizes that there is a trade imbalance in India. In other words, that we sell a lot of energy products, but we don't have as many Indian products on the Russian market as we'd like. So that's clearly something that Russia is interested in changing. Russia is interested in seeing Indians, in seeing India not just purchase Russian goods and resources, but for Indian companies to come to the Russian market and provide their products and services. And there is quite a unique opportunity right now because a lot of Western companies left after the Ukraine conflict. And although some of the niches have been filled by domestic Russian companies and Chinese companies, there's still a lot of opportunities there. And so if Indian companies in areas such as IT, industry are able to come in, I think that they'll be very competitive. The other point is the point of joint production, right? Because, again, Putin himself has consistently said that Russia supports the Make in India initiative and actually wants to be part of it. So Russia is looking for opportunities to bring high-quality manufacturing opportunities, manufacturing jobs to India. We saw back in October the announcement that Russia's civilian airline, the Sukhoi Superjet 100, would be produced in India for the Indian market. I can tell you that there's definitely interest on shipbuilding. There's definitely interest in pharmaceuticals. There's a whole host of places where we cannot just develop, not just build products together, but co-develop technologies. And on that front, I'd actually like to return to the defense front because I think the case of BrahMos is quite
illustrative in this regard, because Russia and India joined forces together to create a high-quality anti-ship missile. And now this anti-ship missile is generating interest from various countries in the world. And I think I wouldn't be surprised to see if on the sidelines of the Putin-Modi summit, there would be some sort of announcement about new BrahMos sales to a new country. So I think that the economic side is to keep an eye on, because we currently have a trade balance of about $63 billion a year. The goal is to raise it to $100 billion per year by 2030. There's a lot of things we can do on that front, and I'm expecting some breakthroughs on the economic side of things over the next 2 days.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Abhishek, I think we have a breaking. Dimitri, stay with us. We're getting in some more inputs from New Delhi as well on how we're preparing. Abhishek, if you can take our viewers to the next breaking update that's coming in right now on the visit.
Well, so the breaking is, Niranjan, I'm getting to hear that Prime Minister Modi and President Putin are going to have their meeting immediately on arrival of President in the evening of tomorrow, which means that he lands and heads straight to 7LKM. I believe there is a one-on-one meeting planned between the two leaders at the Lok Kalyan Marg residence of the Prime Minister. And that's a big one because remember, it's a state visit, so the whole trappings of a state visit, the ceremonial welcome at the forecourts of the Rashtrapati Bhavan, the visit to the Rajghat to pay respects to the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, going to the Hyderabad House, the delegation level talks, business summit after that at Bharat Mandapam, and then the state banquet before that, meeting the president. That's all there. But I think when it comes to engaging one-on-one, the most crucial meeting and taking their own equation forward and to bring and add to the heft of the delegation level talks with the mutual understanding. I think that one-on-one meeting between Prime Minister Modi and President Putin, even before the delegation level talks, that's tomorrow itself, and that's going to be a big one. Shawan.
Well, in fact, we're also picking up some more details with regards to what's really going to happen in terms of the number of meetings that are basically lined up. Dimitri, in fact, you were in touch with those who have been part of Russian President's entire delegation. Could you help us understand in terms of the business delegation that's likely to accompany President Putin?
Well, first of all, you're going to see the leadership of Russia's largest banks, that is Sberbank and VTB. Both banks are trying to establish their presence in India, expand their presence in India, all of that to make financial transfers between the two countries easier. And if the financial transfers can be done with ease, that obviously opens a lot of trade opportunities for both sides. The other side of things that is going to be important is pharmaceuticals, because right now Indian pharmaceuticals, I would say, especially over the past year or two, have emerged as major players in the Russian market, because as a result of Western sanctions, a lot of Western brands left the Russian market, and Russians were initially very worried because they expected a spike in medicine. But thankfully, Indian companies came to the rescue, and they were actually able to bring medicine prices down because they provided higher quality, cheaper alternatives to Western medicine. And so I think pharmaceutical is going to be important. We also know that the Minister of Agriculture will be there. There's going to be talks about, increasing imports of Indian agricultural goods. There's going to be the Deputy Minister of Industry. I think you're going to see more stuff about aviation and shipbuilding on that front. And you obviously are going to have folks from Russia's nuclear state agency, Rosatom, which is building nuclear power plants across the world. There's going to definitely be talks on the nuclear energy front.
Let me also, Niranjan, get a quick word from Krishna Mohan. He's the Defense and Security Correspondent of Sputnik here in India. Krishna, just help us understand what's the response really coming in from the Indian Armed Forces with regards to S-400? Because during Operation Sindoor itself, we have essentially seen how the first layer of defense that really came in from our indigenous products itself. How exactly is India really weighing this in, and what's the roadmap like in terms of bringing in S-400?
Indian armed forces are using Russian military hardware since I think more than 5-6 decades. S-400 is the most modern anti-air defense system. India acquired this, and at that time, America pressure on India for doing trade with Russia is not new. Even when India to sign the deal of S-400 with Russia in 2018. In 2017, America passed CAATSA bill, countering adversaries of America through Sanction Act. And in 2018, you must remember that in May of 2018, there was a 2x2 meeting of Defense Minister and Finance Minister of India and USA that was going to happen in Delhi, and that was cancelled. But even then, India went ahead and signed S-400 deal. And S-400 proved its worth in Operation Sindoor. Recently in October, Air Chief of Air Staff, Indian Air Force, he announced, and on record he says that Indian Air Force got a kill from longest range. It was more than 310 kilometers. And that was obviously shot from S-400. Now Indian Air Force has received 3 regiments in very strategic.
Okay, I think there's a poor audio line there. Just losing the signal there with Krishna Mohan. We'll just fix that line.
Can I go to...
yes, Abhishek. Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
I mean, Dimitri, Abhishek, this side, you were mentioning about the possibility of the economic side of the talks yielding bigger headlines vis-a-vis the defense side. Now, I just want to have a bit of an elaboration on that. What do you mean by that? I mean, the fact that the balance of trade situation is so much in favor of Russia, the fact that Russia does not purchase enough of Indian goods and services, the fact that even those exporters who are sending in goods and services to Russia find it difficult because of the Western sanctions to get the money. I think that something might be in the works on that aspect of making the exchange of goods and services and the currencies a little easier.
Of course, when you look at the meetings between Jai Shankar and, let's say, Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov, or Russian Deputy Prime Minister Denis Monterov, who is basically the one who's in charge of managing the economic side of the Russia-India relationship, both of them have acknowledged India's concerns regarding the trade balance, and they also, have repeatedly stated that Russia is interested in making this, more evened out. In order to do that, you obviously need to improve the situation with financial transfers. As we see, high-level Russian banking representatives are going to be there. The other thing that you need to do is talk about logistics, to make logistics easier and cheaper and more effective. We already know that Russia and India have the international north-south transport corridor, which runs through Iran and is quicker than the traditional Suez Canal route. So that's one route. We also have the Chennai-Vladivostok route. So you are seeing all these sort of logistical initiatives being played out to make it easier to ship goods from India to Russia and vice versa. Obviously, this is going to be a medium-term, long-term consideration because it takes time to fully develop this infrastructure, especially in the case of the international north-south transport corridor, develop this infrastructure via third countries. But Russia and India are committed. It has support from outside parties. And I think that's, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov has said that both these trade routes are high on the agenda, and so has Russian Deputy Prime Minister Denis Monterov.
Yes, I wanted to ask a question to Krishna Mohan. Krishna, last evening, after the Duma ratified RELOS, a lot of interest in India around what that could mean. looking at the fine print, it appears to have significant, outcome here in India. If you can tell our viewers a little bit about Relos and whether that will also figure in the meeting when Putin lands in Delhi.
Whenever India and Russia met, or there are some summit, then defense is always a central point. Though yesterday, Pasco explained that not only defense but trade and even cultural and technical trade, everything will be discussed. And that the discussions will be on a wide spectrum of various issues. But always defense is on the center stage between India and Russia. Russia has been a strategic partner since long, and India always. Most important thing is there is no string attached with any defense deal with Russia. Yeah. Second, there is no trust deficit between India and Russia, whether on in trade or in defense deals. So these all treaties, these all summits are strengthening in Indian and Russia defense partnership. And now India and Russia's defense relation is not only buyer and sellers, but of joint producers. India and Russia are jointly producing many important military hardware. BrahMos was the first, which is being even exported. India got its first major export order from Philippines of BrahMos. Vietnam and Indonesia are also in the line. And soon BrahMos deal with Vietnam and Indonesia will also be decided. AK-203 is second major joint production project in Korba near Amethi in Uttar Pradesh. India is producing Indo-Russia Rifle Corporation. There is an entity, and that entity is producing AK-203 rifles for Indian Armed Forces. And after completing the order for Indian Armed Forces, that is more than 6.5 lakh, there will be additional production to export also. So this relation is going to pave way for joint production and export. There are many projects which are in pipeline. There are many projects, many products from Russia which will be maintained and refurbished and all in India. MRO facilities are being developed.
Krishna, I have to take a short break at this point. So I'm thanking both Dimitri and you. Thanking both Dimitri and Krishna. The handshake is tomorrow. He lands tomorrow. So we're just hours away from that meeting. I thank both Dimitri and Krishna Mohan for joining us here on Republic TV. And we here at Republic will be getting you the biggest coverage. You heard from Dimitri and Krishna Mohan. Sputnik is Russia's largest news agency, and unmatched live breaking news coverage for you on Republic, along with Sputnik, Abhishek and Shavan. I think our viewers can look forward to that. Have to take a short break right now. Breaking news coming up after the break. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता, उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ,
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
The Indian Army has rarely spoken so loudly without uttering a word. And in exercise Ram Prahar, it delivered perhaps its clearest message from the Western Front in recent years, not through speeches or press conferences, but through a powerful demonstration of what it can actually do.
Hallowed chambers of the Supreme Court of India. The law roars louder. Real, fearless, historic. The first Buddhist Chief Justice of India. Former Chief Justice of India, Justice B.R. Gavai. Unshaken in conviction. This weekend on the legal side of things, only on Republic TV.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मम्मा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
The Indian Army has rarely spoken so loudly without uttering a word. And in exercise Ram Prahar, it delivered perhaps its clearest message from the Western Front in recent years, not through speeches or press conferences, but through a powerful demonstration of what it can actually do on the battlefield. What happened in the deserts and plains under Kharga Corp was not just another military exercise, but a carefully planned signal about capability and intent along our border with Pakistan. The numbers tell part of the story, with over 20,000 soldiers organized into battle groups that can fight independently, suggesting that the army is moving away from old defensive tactics toward a more aggressive approach that can strike on multiple fronts at once. This is not the army that waits behind borders anymore, but one that is ready to take the fight into enemy territory if provoked. The scenario itself, a cross-border offensive in response to a Pakistani attack, makes clear that India is no longer content with merely defending its borders, but is prepared to hit back hard and fast. What makes Ram Prahar different from past exercises is how everything worked together like a well-oiled machine. Tanks like the T-90S Bhishma and upgraded T-72 with night vision capabilities worked alongside artillery guns like the K-9 Vajra and Pinaka rocket launchers that can hit targets 90 kilometers away. The army showed it could cross deep rivers under fire using special bridge-laying tanks that can set up a 20-meter bridge in less than 4 minutes while enemy guns are firing at them. Special forces were dropped at night from heights of 25,000.
बाबरी मस्जिद के मुद्दे पर सरकारी खजाने से पैसा खर्च करने की बात जब उन्होंने छेड़ी थी, उसका भी विरोध यदि किसी ने किया था तो गुजराती मां की कोख से पैदा हुए सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल ने ही किया था, मेरे बहन भाई।
Rajnath Singh slams Jawaharlal Nehru, claims he wanted to use public funds to build Babri Masjid. Congress calls Rajnath's remarks a lie. Telangana CM Revanth Reddy remarks on Hindu deities sparks huge controversy. BJP calls out Congress's habitual insult of Hindu sentiments.
सर आप कह रहे हैं सर स्कूलों में जो है जिहाद पढ़ाना चाहिए सर, आप कह रहे हैं सर स्कूलों में जिहाद पढ़ाना चाहिए.
Massive controversy over Madani's pitch to have jihad taught in schools. Republic confronted Jamia Ulema-e-Hind chief. Major speculations over Jharkhand CM's meet with the PM. Congress calls for key meeting in Jharkhand on December 4th. Amid Karnataka power tussle, Sitharaman meets Congress High Command, says will step down if ordered by Rahul Gandhi. It's the most extensive coverage on the Modi-Putin meeting in Delhi. Republic Sputnik ahead on live updates. Rupee falls to record low, crosses 90 against dollar for the first time. Ladies and gentlemen, we are starting this edition with a breaking news that is coming in. This time, the government has removed the mandatory pre-installation of the Sanchar Sathi app. The government has in fact said that given Sanchar Sathi's increasing acceptance, the government has decided to make it pre-mandatory for mobile manufacturing. Now, government has also said that so far 1.4 crore users have downloaded the app and are contributing to the information on 2,000 fraud incidents per day. Ladies and gentlemen, the controversy over Sanchar Sathi app is only brewing, and this time, the government's order to pre-install the app on all smartphones sold in India has sparked concerns. The government has now decided to remove the mandatory pre-installation of the Sanchar Sathi app. The government, in fact, said that with intent to provide access to cybersecurity to all citizens, had mandated pre-installation of Sanchar Sathi app on smartphones. They have further said that the app is secure and is purely meant to help citizens from bad actors in the cyber world. Given Sanchar Sathi's increasing acceptance, government has decided not to make the pre-installation mandatory for the mobile manufacturers. This is the statement that is coming in from the Ministry of Communications here, ladies and gentlemen. The government has issued a new guideline. In fact, they have decided to remove the mandatory pre-installation of the Sanchar Sathi app. Remember, viewers, there was a lot of hue and cry over this particular app, with the opposition continuously stating that the app was a breach of privacy for the citizens of India. All right, I'm being joined by Senior Executive Editor Abhishek Kapoor on the phone line. Abhishek, the government has now decided that the mandatory pre-installation of the Sanchar Sathi app is no more a prerequisite. Tell us more.
Well, you see, so there is a fresh notification coming in from the government, and they have clarified now that, or rather, rolled back the provision of mandatory pre-installation of this app on all mobile phones or smartphones. And the government says that while a tremendous amount of success has been achieved in tracking cybercrime and even tracking lost phones with the help of this app over the last few months, the fact that the opposition tried to give it a spin or perhaps succeeded in some measure, as can be seen from the government rollback mantra, in suggesting that this was some kind of a spyware, this was some kind of a tracking app which would have, geo-tracked citizens and compromised their privacy. And that is the reason why the government, keeping in mind the sentiments of the larger masses, even if manipulated by the opposition, has decided to roll back Sanchar Sathi. And the thinking was, in the government sources tell us, that if this perception gets strengthened, that this is a spyware or connected with tracking of people, then the whole purpose of providing a cyber security net to the people and the masses would get defeated. So to take away that sting of the opposition attack, this mandatory provision of pre-installation of the software from the mobile phones has been done away with the fresh notification that just come out.
Well, absolutely, Abhishek. Thank you for getting us those updates. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, listen in to what Minister of Communication Jyotiraditya Scindia had to say on the Sanchar Sathi app. Take a look.
संचार साथी ऐप का प्रयोग हमने 2025 में हम लोग ने शुरुआत किया। अब संचार साथी क्या है? संचार साथी एक ऐसा ऐप है जिसके आधार पर, जन भागीदारी के आधार पर, आज देश की एक एक जनता और नागरिक अपने आप को सुरक्षित रख सकता है फ्रॉड से, स्टोलन मोबाइल से, अपने स्टोलन मोबाइल को रिकॉर्ड कर सकता है, रिपोर्ट कर सकता है। और 20 करोड़ हिट सर हमारे पोर्टल पे हुए हैं, करीब 1.5 करोड़ ऐप डाउनलोड हुए, और इसी के आधार पर जन भागीदारी, इसकी सफलता, सॉफ्टवेयर तो हमने बनाई है सरकार ने, पर इसकी सफलता का श्रेय अगर किसी को जाता है तो जनता को जाता है सर, क्योंकि उनके उपयोग के आधार पर ही हम लोग सफल हो पाए। और आज मैं रिकॉर्ड पे रखना चाहता हूं कि इस ऐप और पोर्टल के आधार पर 1.5 करोड़ मोबाइल कनेक्शन देश के अंदर डिस्कनेक्ट हुए हैं जो फ्रॉडुलेंट हैं, क्योंकि जनता ने रिपोर्ट किया है। करीब 26 लाख स्टोलन हैंडसेट हम लोग ने ट्रेस किए, 7 लाख स्टोलन हैंडसेट जो उपभोक्ता है उसे हमने वापस भी कर दिया है, और 41 लाख मोबाइल कनेक्शन डिस्कनेक्ट हुए हैं, 6 लाख फ्रॉड हम लोग ने ब्लॉक किए। इसी के आधार पर हम लोग ने ये कोशिश की कि हम लोग हर एक नागरिक को वो चॉइस दें, क्योंकि ऐप फोन पे है इसका मतलब नहीं है कि वो ऑटोमेटिकली ऑपरेट हो जाएगा। जब तक मैं उपभोक्ता के रूप में उसमें रजिस्टर ना करूं तब तक वो ऑपरेट नहीं होगा। और मैं उपभोक्ता के आधार पर, जैसे मेरे फोन पर सर ढेर सारे ऐप्स होते हैं, मैं उस ऐप को भी दबा के मैं डिलीट कर सकता हूं। तो ये लोकतंत्र में पूर्ण हक और अधिकार नागरिक का है सर। हम लोग ने केवल ये ऐप सभी को उपलब्ध कराने के लिए कदम लिया है। लेकिन फिर भी मैं सदन के पटल पे भी कहना चाहता हूं, हमारा कोई हट नहीं, इसकी सफलता का प्रयोग जनता के आधार पर हुआ है। फीडबैक हमें मिलेगा, उस फीडबैक के आधार पर अगर उस ऑर्डर में भी हम लोगों को कोई चेंज लाना है उसके लिए भी हम लोग तैयार हैं। ये मैं अवश्य कहना चाहता हूं कि इस ऐप के आधार पर न स्नूपिंग संभव है न स्नूपिंग होगा। प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सरकार देश की जनता के हाथों में अधिकार देना चाहती है ताकि वे अपने आप को सुरक्षित रख पाए। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर।
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Jyotiraditya Scindia on the Sanchar Sathi app. There's a lot of controversy brewing around this particular app here, viewers. The Sanchar Sathi app controversy is revolving around the government's order to pre-install the app. However, in the latest move, this is a big move that is coming in from the government here, viewers. The government has in fact removed the mandatory pre-installation of this particular app. This is a big move that is coming in. In fact, the government has time and again reiterated that this is in fact a big boon for the citizens of India and not what the opposition continues to say. The opposition, on the other hand, says that this is in fact a snooping device for the citizens of India. However, like we just heard Jyotiraditya Scindia and like the government has been continuously reiterating that this is in fact a boon for the citizens, and this is for all the rise in the cybercrime in the country. In fact, I'm being joined by cyber expert Enes Nappinai. So thank you for speaking to Republic. This is a big move that is coming in from the government. The government has said that the pre-installation of this app is no more a mandate, and this, of course, is after. After the opposition said that this is an excuse for the government to sort of snoop on the citizens, ma'am. What is your first take on this?
I must say first that I'm really glad that the government has changed its stand, and it is a wise decision because the issue was never about Sanchar Sathi. It is for each person who wants to use the service to decide whether they want to download the app or not. The concern was when you make it mandatory. Contrary to corporate actions of similar vein, when a government does that, it is violative, and that is impermissible. So there are two things that the government has to ensure are not pushed forward. One is, of course, the mandatory pre-installation, and secondly, also the directive asking service providers to insist that it should be part of a software update where the app will be automatically installed. It's critical that on both counts, the mandatory installation requirement is removed.
All right, thank you, ma'am, for giving us your take. Of course, this is one of the biggest stories that we are tracking here, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, we have another breaking news that is coming in. This one is from Karnataka here, viewers. Tension near Jamia Masjid as Hanuma Sankirtana Yatra has been halted by the police. The Hanuma Maladhari's Sankirtana Yatra was continued in Srirangapatna with local residents distributing fruits and buttermilk to devotees along the 4-kilometer route. Now, the procession is currently moving from the Ganjam Road at a circle near a mosque. Some participants were seen placing lemons and lighting camphor as part of the ritual. Now, the Sankirtana Yatra reached the vicinity of the Jamia Masjid, where a group of Maladharis attempted to move forward towards the mosque area. It was here when the police intervened and stopped the Maladharis, leading to moments of pushing and jostling between the two sides. Some participants there were also raising slogans while pointing towards the Jamia Masjid side. All right, joining me live is my colleague Abhishek from Bengaluru. Abhishek, this is this breaking news that we are getting in from Karnataka. There is a tension erupting near the Jamia Masjid during this particular yatra. Tell us more.
Antara, I am right at the location where the Maladaris of the Hanuma Maladaris who tried to barge into the masjid, which is located in Srirangapatna. The history goes back to a period of Tipu Sultan, who was ruling the state, and when he demolished the temple which was prevailing here, which belonged to Lord Hanuman, after which he installed a new mosque here. And for the last 11 to 12 years, the Hanuma Maladaris and Hindu Jagrana Vedike are conducting various other march pasts beyond this masjid to make sure that this masjid comes down in the next couple of years, and they would build a Hanuman temple once again at the same location. This yatra starts at the Nimishamba temple, which is near the banks of Srirangapatna, and also this continues for the location 2.5 to 3 kilometers from the starting point to the Sriranganatha temple, which is located in Srirangapatna. At least 1,500 police personnel were deployed, 150 CCTVs were installed, personnel from CAR, DAR, KSRP and the commando wing of the Karnataka State Police were deployed. Drones were used to monitor the live visuals of the yatra. There were at least 10 to 15 teams of police which had been divided so that they come with the teams of the Maladharis. And from this door of the fort, the Hanuma Maladaris took this way towards the Jamia Masjid. They stopped in this place. They tried to barge into the masjid to pelt stones at the masjid. However, the efforts of the police did not let the Hanuma Maladaris get inside the Jamia Masjid. At least 8 to 10 KSRP vehicles which had been parked around the masjid made sure that these Hanuma Maladaris don't get within the mosque, because it would obviously create a ruckus between the Hindu and the Muslim community. And we shouldn't forget the fact that while talking to the Republic TV, Mallikarjuna Baladandi, the SP of Mandi, had told that the CCTV visuals will be monitored. If at all any incident which was supposed to create a disharmony in the community or the society, action against those persons will be taken in the next couple of days. The yatra has successfully completed as per the police information, because not a single incident of the issue between the Hindu or the Muslim conflict has been reported for the first ever time in the last 11 years. And also we shouldn't forget the fact, Antara, that at least 5,000 to 6,000 Hanuma Maladharis were present. The rally, which started from Nimishamba temple in Srirangapatna, has already reached Ranganatha Swami temple in Srirangapatna itself, which covered the distance of around 4 kilometers. We also saw the deity or the idol of Hanuman Swami being carried on the chariot, which was followed by the DJ, which was followed by the traditional music. And this is a place, this is the exact circle where the masjid is located. This is one of the sensitive most places in and around Srirangapatna as per the police sources. And this is, they very clearly knew that this was about to happen, and that is the only reason as to why the majority of the force of the police were deployed in this location. And also the police are successful in taking the situation into the control and managing this rally peacefully, which is already ended as of now. Antara.
Right, Abhishek. In fact, to our viewers who are just tuning in, if you could also tell us about the sloganeering which sort of erupted during this confrontation, and also how many police convoys have been deployed in the area, considering that you just told us that, you know, the Hanuman devotees have come in large numbers there. Abhishek.
Okay, the slogans very clearly meant that they would be demolishing this mosque in the next couple of years, and also they will be rebuilding the Hanuman temple, which was prevailing even before Tipu Sultan ruled this place. With respect to the deployment of the police force, I am requesting my video journalists to show the KSRP vans which have been parked on the streets around the Jamia Masjid. So on a very average note, at least 8 KSRP vans have been deployed here. 1,500 policemen had been deployed under the leadership of the SP Mandya, Mr. Mallikarjuna Baladandi. At least 4 to 5 of the ASPs, followed by majority of the circle police inspectors, police sub-inspectors and various other personnel from the police department were deployed. On the other hand, we've also seen the commando wing of the Karnataka State Police being deployed here. At least 2 to 3 drones were deployed during the entire march of this, the Hanuma Maladaris. And not to forget, there were the police from the intelligence wing as well as the Mufti wing to make sure that none of the things go out of hand. And we shouldn't also forget the fact that CCTVs, more than 150 CCTVs had been installed all the way along from Nimishamba temple until the Sri Ranganatha Swami temple. And the fact is that majority of the sensitive places have already been barricaded up by the police, which will be taken out in the evening. So this is one successful yatra as per the police sources, and also we'll have to see what the Hindu leaders say about this in the next couple of minutes. Antara, back to you.
Well, thank you, Abhishek, for getting us these details. Of course, we are very, very closely tracking this as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we are shifting our focus to another breaking news that is coming in. This one's from Pakistan here, ladies and gentlemen. The tension continues to brew over Imran Khan's continued isolation. In fact, in a resolute stand against the escalating isolation of former Pakistani PM Imran Khan at the Adiala jail in Rawalpindi, his sister, Noreen Khanum, announced that the family has charted a firm path forward amid growing concerns over his health and restricted access. Now, citing months of denied visits, despite court orders allowing the family and legal consultations, Khanum declared that every Tuesday, relatives, including herself, Alima Khanum and Uzma Khan, will stage a sit-in protest outside the Adiala jail gates, refusing to depart until permission is granted for 6 family members and 6 lawyers to meet Khan. The tension there, ladies and gentlemen, continues to brew over the continued isolation of former Pakistani PM Imran Khan. I'm being joined by my colleague Gursimran. Gursimran, Imran Khan's sister has now made it crystal clear that despite the fact that the court has allowed visitation, the isolation continues to be a point of contention for them. And now she has made it clear that they will be staging a sit-in protest outside the Adiala jail gates. Gursimran.
Yes, it's Noreen Khan that has come out with a statement that their now stance is very clear, that they are not going to bow down to the atrocities being committed upon Imran Khan by the Pakistani establishment on the directions of none other than Field Marshal General Asim Munir. Because yesterday we saw that when Uzma Khan came out of meeting with Imran Khan, she made it very clear that all is being done on the behest of General Asim Munir. And now Noreen Khan has come out with a detailed charter that how they will be going ahead. She has said that every Tuesday they will be going to hold a sit-in protest until and unless they are granted a 12 members delegation that includes 6 from the family and 6 from the legal team of Imran Khan to visit Imran Khan and to meet him on the regular basis. Because yesterday also we have seen that Usman Khan came out and said that Imran told her that he has been kept in the solitary confinement and he has been denied speaking to even other of the inmates and has also been denied all the access that he was granted by the court's permission. So the way they have scuttled, the Pakistani establishment has scuttled all the leverages that were given to Imran Khan after the court orders, including access to its legal team. That they have taken it very seriously now, the family members, and now the entire PTI, that will be outside the Adiala jail every Tuesday.
Well, right, Gursimran, do stay with us. Ladies and gentlemen, we are getting another breaking news. This one's from Pakistan as well. TTP has claimed 4 attacks on Pakistan, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, the tension continues to brew here. There have been 4 separate attacks by TTP on Pakistan. We'll be shortly getting you the visuals of the same. Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan